I'm Skillen from Winnipeg Nightly Arts, and this is my retrospective and review of the Regina Highland Games Pile of Bones Hema tournament, specifically longsword. Okay, so this is my first fight. It's with a guy that trains locally. Quickly before I get into it, I should go over the rules. A touch anywhere on the body is worth 1 point. After blows are not counted. 6 points to win, and if you double 8 times, it's considered a double loss. A note on the after blows: once one person is touched, stops the scoring window, and no scoring happens further. I move in, take up a lot of space quickly because I don't want to get ringed out, and I want to basically control as much space as possible. You see, like, he basically has, we'll make him red, he has this corner here, and if I'm blue, I have all this space, right? So it's really important to be able to move up and take up as much space as possible and like give your opponent as little movement as possible, but you want to walk up until, so if his range is about here, and if he steps and strikes, it's maybe about here-ish, right? I want to stop before I'm in that range, so I'll slow down a little bit. I want to move quickly to take up as much space as I can, and then I want to slow down before I get there. So the first cut is just straight over, hits his arm. Okay, so I get a warning on this. You can see here, my sword is on line, and my foot here moves before my arms do. See, my arms are still quite far back, and if I were attacking much more aggressively, my arm would be like this, and my sword would be out, and I'd be reaching directly for his face, but I'll show you what happens instead. I step in to get nice and close, and now it's just a thrust with my arms, essentially. I'm following after with my back leg because I do need to reach the target. And see how it hits? I don't spear him. I don't drive it in. If I was trying to be malicious, his torso would have been back like here or like that, and I would have jammed in and essentially angled downwards like this to pin him in, so he had nowhere to go. However, I go up with my hands. My arms go up where I drive his sword away, and I basically give him space to move, right? Afterwards, I even ask him, like, it was either like right here, I was like, "Oh, are you okay?" And he was like almost surprised. He seemed a bit surprised by that. He's like, "Wait, what?" And I was like, "Oh, okay, good." And he's like, "What?" Yeah. So yeah, I get a warning. The other thing was Eric talked to me afterwards, and he said something interesting. Like, I kind of get the sentiment, but I'm not fully sure like how to fully register this, because he said, "Oh, the reason that I stopped you was or that gave you the warning was because you had good structure and were moving forward. In order to do a proper attack, those things have to be true. And I guess the other options are don't move forward and have good structure, or move forward and don't have good structure." Beyond this point, and I think a lot of the other people kept their good structure, because you must do that. You must defend yourself at all times. And they essentially were moving back while striking, goading the other person into striking, moving back, and counterattacking. But we do get some examples, some notable examples of bad structure and moving forward quite aggressively. You see the adaptation I make from here, where it's like move in, move in, move in, and every strike, see, just like little strike, little strike, little strike, and I'm moving back when I hit, right? Boom, you can see I'm striking, immediately moving back. Striking, moving back. We're gonna see a lot of this in this tournament, which, fair enough, you know. I will say though, if you're worried about like force levels because there are new people, you should probably not make an open longsword tournament. You should just make a beginner's longsword tournament. and that's fine, especially if you're not experienced in judging longsword tournaments. You don't really have expertise in longsword, and you have new people who are participating. I would say it's not a good idea to run an open longsword tournament where people are traveling 5 to 7 hours from neighboring provinces who are competitive in longsword and specialize in longsword, when you are then throwing people who don't have experience in longsword in with them, because the people who are inexperienced, as spoiler alert, can throw a wrench into the works for you. So, another cut to the hand. Right, stop is called. It's all good. Right, big chillin'. I'm starting to have fun here. Right, like I'm actually talking to Derek, in these exchanges and stuff, which is it's quite entertaining to me. I was just like, oh, like having fun, like just asking him about his day and stuff. So this is like a pretty chill match. Like, I'm not turned up super high. My mentality at this point is, I just want to like get out of the first match. I haven't competed in a long time, and it's kind of like we're out here, we're just trying to show support and just like have fun. I'm excited to like meet up with the Alberta guys and fence with some of the local guys, some of the Manitoba guys I haven't seen in a long time. Yeah, so just withdrawing, cut around. There's nothing particularly special about like the rest of these exchanges are just pretty chill, like I was saying. So I'm excited to like be there and get a chance to fence with like the Alberta guys, see the Manitoba people. That was actually a pretty good counterattack by Derek. Deliberating. I was just discussing. I was like, okay, like, well, what happened? And it's like, okay, not really disputing this. Like, I just wanted to know what the call was. And then, like, once it was explained, I was just like, oh, okay, yeah. And I think I said, like, yeah, I got hit in the mask. And I was like, yeah, okay, cool. All right, just trying to understand. Because, like, that's an important thing. It's like you need to communicate with the people, and you don't want to be belligerent, but you do need to understand the rule set and how things are being applied, what the standards are. So, yeah, okay. Oh, yeah, I got one more. I think, yeah, and that's match. We just discussed it a little bit. This is an opponent. I don't remember their name. They're fighting out of Bighorn Hema, Bighorn in Calgary. So, interesting note about this opponent is that they are left-handed. I did not notice that at the time because of how they are fencing. Not to be critical, but they came in heavily like Longanort. And in this tournament, normally what I would do against somebody in Longanort is I would cut in with the Shielhow. So a right-handed cut that crosses your center line, and you strike with like the false edge, or like the back edge, short edge, whatever you want to call it, to them. However, I was like, that is not going to fly in this tournament because the moving forward with good form, too much aggression, too much force problem. So, can't really see it there. They cut around to my left. Oh, in the background here. Right? Just keep it. Just remember this character. This is going to become important later. This individual is very relevant to this arc overall. Okay, so again, I'm closing space quite aggressively. Right, you get to here. Cut to the arm, cut to the hand. Nothing special. Just cut right, cut left. See if I can catch it. So move in. So I do want to give a shout out to Matt from Bighorn Hema, because he was in his fighter's corner giving advice the whole time. That is excellent. That is something that I should do better. But mad shout outs to Matt. just standout coaching behavior, awesome, right? And trying to help his fencers adapt to the scenario, having extra set of eyes, great stuff. So we'll break this one down a little bit just because it's indicative of what happens for the rest of the fight. I kind of go like, so what I'm doing here is like a little bit of a fake to the left to see if I can catch. I didn't realize that this fencer is left-handed. So normally what happens is the cuts come to your left side. So I was going to like fake that and then cut back in. And they cut around to my right and they go real low. And I just cut straight in, get the initial hit, and then they sweep and they miss. They like, this is like, they touched me. I was jumping at, like, we'll go back full speed, but I was like I was trying to GTFO because I was like, whoa, that's like a crazy like leg cut, and it's in deep, like they go in deep, right? So still makes contact, but I caught them first. So at this point I know that like that leg cut is gonna come repeatedly, and I need to like jump even further back, right? Do a one-handed strike just to keep him at range. Just building up those points really. Boom. Another cut, just preemptive cuts to kind of like not let them get their to let them run their game, because I don't want to have to jump back here, right? I would say this is probably the hardest hit realistically that I do the entire tournament. And the reason, and there's a bit of a reason for it. It's mostly reactive, right? So I'm here, I see this big circle around, I'm like, oh shit, right? And instinctively I start bringing my sword up and to the left, and then I see where their sword is, and I see that they are coming in hot, right? We'll make them blue this time, right? They're coming in hot. This is coming in from here, and it's gonna go like this, and they're gonna come in like that. So for me, right, I'll make my sword red in this case. My sword was here. It goes up to here, right? And I'm like, oh shit, I just have to preempt them. So I'm gonna cut down. Okay. So dun 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 dun, big sweeping strike. This was the hardest that I hit, I think, the entire tournament. My opponent didn't complain, to their credit. They didn't seem. I don't think it was excessive. It was harder than I was expecting, because let's go back. Look how far back I'm going, and look how I have to react. Right? Boom. I think they're cut actually. I'm not stopping. I just let my opponent back up because I don't want to be like overlap. And then from here again. So a little bit of for them, if you happen to watch this, one thing is these big attacks like this, like I react way after you and I'm hitting you first. You just want to tighten that up. Yeah, you got me. I mean, so the line here, it's like in our club we would consider this a graze more than like a decisive strike. It comes in kind of flat and like rubs against me, and kind of ultimately I think misses its target. The other thing is here I would just say don't turn your side or back to your opponent. You do correct it, but overall, pretty good. You just gave me a lot of tempo. We're on to so those were my first two matches. This got me into like a round robin thing. There were 5 of us. We were supposed to fight in a round robin. Person with the most amount of points wins. This was a really good fight. This was against the guy that I gave the shout out to for coaching his fencer, Matt from Bighorn. So I was like, oh, I guess I guess I'll be white. Like, okay, that's fine, you know. Interesting colleges. I don't know. Whatever. It's all good. I guess because of my shin guards. So Matt is actually like quite a skilled fencer. So I know that I have to be a little careful here. The exchange is basically, boom, he comes in. He's trying to get me to react, I think, from here, because he comes in with this and then goes for a secondary cut, and I cut in and over. His cut, you can see here, it's a little low, like low, and then comes up. But I would have classified this as a double. I don't know. I'll take it. Eric's prerogative. I think it was a double. Feeling each other out. You can see both of us just wound up. Just like we both want to launch at each other, and we're both really hesitant to do it. And we're both just feeling each other out. It's kind of interesting. So from here, right? He actually gets it. It's funny because I do this exact strike later. He gets a shield. Beautiful shield. And I call it. Yeah. Yeah, beautiful technique, by the way. Now coming in with these low upward strikes. I'm trying to move in. Yeah. This is essentially both on the same wavelength, both react at the same time, both do the same cut. This is like mirror mode. Boom. And I whiff. Feels bad, man. Yeah, I just tell him I whiff. I whiffed entirely. Okay. I mean, happens sometimes. Make him red. He's coming in like this. And you can see my sword is here. And I'm going to move it down like along this angle to try to come in on top of him. You can see here. I'm trying to get my cross guard like this so that he gets funneled. So he gets funneled into this pocket here. I don't think I succeeded. I think he gets this point anyways. But you can see, I make contact here, and then I cut up, and he pushes me over. So. Good shit. Yeah, he gets the point. And he deserved it, so. So from here, we basically just lock up. This happens, right? No major contact, and then I just react first. It's just kind of like, we both neutralize each other, and then I just go for the tap to the wrists. I don't want to baseball bat him. I'm not gonna like swing for broke into his arms. I'm just giving him a tap to be like, well, we got into this neutral position, and then I did like a follow-up attack. I was just quick around the draw. So, 2 to 3, not bad. range, good range. Lots of respect between both of us, I think. Yeah, trying to find each other, boom. And yeah, I think I was out of time here, I can't remember. But, cut to my arm, however, right. Yeah, he got the point. It's the power of the invisible afterblow shield. So now it's like 4-2. Yeah, so again, this one is everything gets neutralized into this position, right? Strike happens. Boom. No meaningful contact. I get to here. His hands go high, my hands go high. And again, I'm not cutting, like, I'm going for a slice into the arms. And I'm doing this in a way because in this tournament, low force is kind of very important. You can't swing like a gorilla. Under normal circumstances, I would be cutting a sphere down into his body, or like doing a slice into his wrists with some vigor. I'm trying to be as chill as I can here. Feeling each other out, feeling each other out. Da, da, da. Yep, he gets it. Boom. He cuts first, and like I graze his arm. Nothing real. Okay, yeah, his point. Okay. So this one, I think I actually score this one. Okay. So go here. So my crossguard is underneath his sword here. And the initial hit was ruled as like not valid anyways. So then immediately afterwards, this is a shield. I thrust him instantly afterwards, like about as quickly as possible. So if we are looking at my sword, it is like this, and my point is in him. And what I do, I feel the tension shoving my hands up because I know the technique that I'm doing. I let my hands go up because if I don't, if I just stiff arm this and drop my hands down and remove the flex from my blade, it shoves in quite hard. It's kind of a dick move to do. That's why I don't do it. Anyways, you can see sword in him, sword in him. I let my hands go up, relieve the stress. Coming in. He's underneath my cross guard. We go like this. So as it turns over, right, you can see in here, the way that his sword is, it's stuck over top of my cross guard, which is usually indicative of like you've controlled and pinned your opponent's sword. Okay, come down like this. And I think this is what Eric ruled as like the cut that won, is this slice. I considered this to be, I don't know, let's see how many frames here. Like, not to gripe, I don't care that this was ruled against me. I don't care about that. It's just, so probably about here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40. This is over half a second. right? This is like over half a second that my sword has been buried deep into his chest. Not on Matt for the call, but it is scored in favor of yeah. He said I caught it on the cross guard, and then he sliced me. I don't think he saw my thrust at all, honestly. Which whatever, that's fine. It's fine. Although I would like to think that I lose 5-6 rather than like 4-6. And this is my final fight in the tournament. Judging over here, this is Nick McConnell. He trains with us. Eric's over here to the right. And my opponent, I believe his name is Haiduk. This is importantly one of Eric's students. Okay, take up space. You can see, if we go back, you can see, I believe this guy did Olympic fencing. You can see him doing the Olympic bounce, the bunny bounce. I don't recommend doing this. I don't think this is good to do in Hema. Shoutouts to Roland Varzecha for calling me out many years ago for doing a little bounce before, right? It's a bit of a tell, right? So he does this. He comes in, right? Comes in to strike. I see it. Catch it on my strong. He may have even missed. I think he kind of missed. And then, see, I just cut straight onto his head. He's coming up to deflect. I think he might have hit me in the arms. It's a weird angle, though. It's very flat. Though, ruled as simultaneous hits. Whatever. It's okay. Good faith call, right? So he's kind of overreacting, right? So from here, I just kind of, right? I just do like a cut like this, right? Into his mid. He's trying to come around. So you see, this is going to be important, right? My sword is like this, and his sword is like this. And what he's trying to do is he's trying to get his sword free, he's trying to get his sword basically underneath like this and cut into me. The reason I'm pointing this out is because this is like the one thing he does repeatedly. So we may as well analyze it now, because it's going to come up. However, what happens is my sword, right, stays under his sword. I don't let him get under, right? Because as a student of the German style of fencing, I like to stay in the bind. And what I absolutely don't want to do is let my opponent get around to my left side, specifically a right-handed fencer. I don't want them to get to the right of my sword. I want them to stay where they belong, in their lane, on the back side. I do not want them to get over here where they can cut straight into my head, or, importantly, my ribs are wide open. If somebody tees off with this, like if they manage to tee off on you, they can break your ribs through your fencing jacket. If they do a baseball bat swing into your ribs, specifically right about here, they'll catch a floating rib, they'll break that, and you won't sleep for it's a long recovery, and there's no support that can be done. So ensuring that he does not get underneath my sword or to the right of my sword, however you want to put it, is incredibly important to me. It's a huge part of my strategy in general, and it's one of those things that I don't want to happen. So we see this, right? He's cutting up. He's trying to get under. I catch him. See, this is why I'm reaching my hand so far forward, because he can't go back far enough to get around. He tries to do it, and see what happens when he does this. Now it just goes into my guard. Now I have an opening, right? I'm being safe though, because I don't know what this guy's going to do. And then I come back in and I do my attack here to his hand, right? So in real time, right? And I got his hand. So I can tell that this guy is a little bit of a loose cannon already. He's moving weird and he's doing weird things. I'm like, okay, right? So, feeling him out. I'll just show this in real time. I'm kind of like, what? It's like, okay. Here's what happened. I'll just break it down. Okay. Also, I'll point out some other things. This guy is dangerous. And not in a, oh, he's a good fencer way. In a, he's going to hurt himself or someone else. One of the two is going to get hurt. So he initiates an attack. Okay, catch it on my strong. We all good. This is Gucci, right? My problem is the form of his legs is this straight leg stuff is really, really dangerous. Because if you come down wrong, you're going to rip the tendons out of your knee. And also, when you're doing this is uncontrolled. We are told not to jump, not to let both feet leave the ground. Yeah, what is that? That is a flying thrust. I don't really want to harp on that too much because I think like the flying, moving forward like that isn't necessarily the problem. However, the form of the legs is a problem. The way that he's attacking, he's just, going unga bunga. So again, he goes here. I displace him to the right. He tries to come around again. This is going to be a pattern, see? And then he tries to do like this straight down Oberhau, catch it onto my strong, deflect it. Keep in mind, remember this pattern. Okay, then he goes back and he tries to do it again. He tries. There's also something else I want to point out about the leg. I got distracted by what was going on with their swords. Okay, look at this. Okay, you see this? Unacceptable in Hema. Okay, completely unacceptable in Hema. You do this. Yeah, if I come in and I push on you and this knee goes, you can pop all of it, you can wreck your own knee. This is, especially in longsword, this kind of a lunge, right? Like this, not acceptable. Right? And this should have been, I think, called. Eric was calling this on other people, but did not call it on his student. And that is on Eric. I'm sorry, homie. There's no two ways around it. Like watching this back, this is incredibly dangerous, and you should not have let this happen. Notice how my legs, knees bent. You know why? Because in Hema, you can come in and you can potentially push on each other, and sometimes your knees get up against the other guy's knees, and if your knees are hyperextended like this, and any amount of lateral force or force in any direction, really, it's unpredictable, is applied to you, you can get permanently damaged. And I don't want that for this guy. So it's on Eric and this guy both to fix this stuff, but it's on Eric for not like pointing it out to him that he's doing it and fixing it. Because ultimately Eric is his coach and the organizer of this tournament. Anyways, so from here, fencing wise, sword wise, we'll just go over what happened in more detail. All of this stuff is going to become very relevant. So he lunges in with a cut directly onto my strong, tries to cut around. I stop him, right? Catch it onto my strong, go back up, and I'm like, whoa, this guy's a little bit of a loose cannon. I'm not free to attack him because he's just flailing at me, right? He's doing this, like he's trying. maybe that's supposed to be trying to be its fair how or something, or it's like a parry. I don't know. I'm not even attacking him, right? And then from here, he goes back in with another, like, essentially Bufo strike again, and he's really forcing it, and I'm not letting him get around. I'm like, there's no way. I'm gonna let you try to tee off on my ribs, and finally here I pull way hard to my left, and then just slap him in, slap in my false edge cut, right, or my like back edge cut, and then I just disengage, and I was like, okay, like, well, I guess I'm gonna just control him by going into a bind and then like letting him flail against me and then just tapping him. That's the strat at this point. It's like, what else can I do, really? It's just he's so uncontrolled. Like he's like a dog off the leash, you know. Do this. Yeah, okay. So he gets a point here. Boom. Right. He's just coming in. And I think the thing is, so like I was pulling back as hard as I could, and like I was still, right, cutting to his head. It's just I was going so far back and trying to protect myself because this guy is like flying in, swinging at legs. You know, essentially no regard given, right? And yeah, this is the exchange. Okay, so that. Did you see it? Something egregious happened here. Something egregious happened, and I was instantly black carded for it. So we're gonna go over it. I think that this is probably one of the most egregious things I've seen in fencing in quite a long time. The plot twist is that there was, okay, so we'll just go over it. So from here, right? We'll go back to the beginning because I want to go over every detail. Okay, from here, I initiate, right? I'm doing a long cut with a passing step. I hit him here. Okay? My sword hits him. You see that? You see this deflection? I got him in the mask, and my sword sinks past. Okay, whatever. We good, right? It was a pretty chill thrust. No acknowledgement from this guy. Okay, that's fine. It happens, right? So now you can see my sword. I just want to be very clear what happens here, okay? My sword's over here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to keep reaching it forward. I'm going to like reach it essentially past this guy's head here like this. Okay? Because again, much like that last exchange I showed where he tried to cut under 2 or 3 times and tee off on my ribs, I don't want that. Okay? So, see, my sword. We're going to be very clear about this, right? My sword is here. His sword is here. I'm basically pushing to get this way, horizontal over top of him, and not let him get past, you know? It's like Lord of the Rings. You shall not pass. He is trying to get around and either cut, right? Either cut to my ribs here, which is what I think he's trying to do, or he's trying to cut over top into my head. That's what he's trying to do. So from here, right, I bind him up just exactly like I did last time. But look what he's doing. I'm not exerting any force on him. Like, look, my sword, see, my sword's over here. Look how much space is between our hands. I'm not pushing him. He just decides to rotate like 180 degrees this way. And he drops to one knee, which is like very strange. You'll see. And I just continue to like bind him up and to the left. Okay, we go in like this. See, he rotated 180 degrees to me. I want to point this out. In this scenario, I saw what was happening. and I had already felt that there was the initial strike, and I was moving in, and you see how like his leg is like this now. This is the side of his leg facing towards me. Look where my foot is, right? See, my foot is besides his foot, right? And my other leg here, right? I can feel his foot next to me. And I can see that he's turned super far to the side. He's turned his back to me. And I'm expecting that Eric is going to call stop right now, because honestly, if someone is turning their back to their opponent in an exchange like this, like in something like SoCal, you lose, I believe, 3 points and get a red card. I'm expecting this exchange to be stopped, because this is totally out of hand. And if you continue, like, if you see what happens with from here, you'll understand even further that I was right. However, okay, in this position, I could have smashed my pommel and cross guard into his head. I could have basically just shoved him, right? Right. Like, I could have just pushed him this way and made him stumble to the ground. I did not do that. I could have gone with this leg and basically kneed him here, or pressed my knee into his back here. I could have circled around into his back, right? And basically from there, just snapped down straight onto his helmet. There are a lot of things that I could have done. Look what I actually, right? What I actually end up doing is completely different. And you can see my leg here I'm gonna step around him. I'm gonna step in front of him to de-escalate the situation, to try to get back in front of him. Okay, so understanding that I had a bunch of options and I chose not to do any of them. I had even more, but I won't belabor the point further. Okay, see, so I step here, I feel his leg, he starts to turn even further. I'm like, oh fuck, like I'm gonna get penalized. Like I better like look at me just like stepping over him and like completely around him. I'm trying to get back in front of him. You notice what he's doing. Okay, so we're gonna go back to the annotations. My sword is here. He's doing exactly what he did the last several times. His sword's over here, or I think it's like this. He's rotating this way to either come into my ribs, which is what I'm afraid of, or if he gets stuck, it's going to go like this, right? More or less. So from here, and I know I'm belaboring the point, but look, I got black carded over this. Okay? My sword still here. Just chilling. We big chilling, right? His sword over here, right? So we keep going. Look where his hands go. My sword. I'm over here. I don't want him, right? I know his sword is somewhere in this area, but you can't always see it, and I'm trying to feel it. And I can tell that he's going to try to do a zver around. And I can feel his hand here. I can see his hand here is going to come up, and he's going to try to hook over onto my hands in a technique that we call the schnappen, right? And I'm like, well, I don't really want to get hit. I don't want to lose the point. And to this guy going crazy. I'm still thinking about this in a tournament sense of like I need to minimize the number of points that I get hit with, because I need to catch up with Matt, or to at least stay in contention. For like, you know, I'm like, maybe I'm on track for like silver. That'd be cool, but maybe bronze. So my sword keeps going to the left. My sword is over here, right? His sword is down here. He's here. He's starting to like lever this so that he can strike down, I would find out. And I'm backing away to try to control the situation. So again, my sword is now here. So my sword has gone from over here to around like this, and I'm trying to feel for him, like, where is this guy going, right? because he got away from me for a second, and I was like, uh-oh, right? So, again, my sword is here, right? This is my sword, right? Boop. Hang on. Yeah, I go down. And you can see here, okay, right now, my sword is pressed into his mask. Okay? This is his sword here. I mean, technically, mine is over top. Mine is between. That's going to be an important point. My sword's just like chilling on his mask, and I'm trying to prevent, because I'm not even trying to hit him. I'm trying to prevent him from getting around and hitting me in the ribs, because I know that they're exposed and I don't want a trip to the hospital. Okay? And this guy's a loose cannon. Boop, boop. Okay, look. Look where his sword is going. Look at the angle. His sword is here. My sword is here. Right? I reiterate, this is my sword here. This is his here. It's coming over. Look what happens. Watch his sword, okay? Comes up and over. Boom, boom, boom. Accelerate. You can see his hands here. He's swinging with all of his might straight down on my head. My sword he thinks I'm undefended. However, in reality, right? My sword is about like this in my hands, right? Like my hands are somewhere in front of me like this. And his sword is coming rapidly down towards my head. That's the angle we're at. So I want you to keep in, essentially you have to watch both, but see, my sword's on his head, on his head, on his head. His sword's coming at me, coming at me, coming at me, right? Suddenly, boom. Wow. My sword, which has been at rest for basically like what? I make contact here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, right? 11, 12. Basically a substantial period of time, right? Maybe anyways. Watch his sword. It comes down, slams into my sword. He slammed my sword directly into his shoulder. I had no idea that this happened, because I didn't know. Anyways, and he hurt, and his shoulder hurts. I believe his shoulder hurts, right? Look how hard he goes. Look how hard he look at that. He's going full gorilla mode, right? This is completely unacceptable. And beyond that, look what he's doing with, look how he turns his back to me. Look how he goes down on the ground, right? Knees locked out, turns completely around. Now that everything is I feel clear, right? I feel his leg. I step over him. I step to the front. I'm trying to be chill. Homie's having none of it. Homie is like, nah, man. He's doing what I would call a spiteful strike or a malicious strike. Keep in mind, I thrust him in the face about a full second ago. I've bound him. He's turned his back to me, and he's rotating with his entire body, and then he drops down to one knee in order to try to strike me with everything that he has in him. Look, that thing's coming straight at my head. Thank God my sword was in between us. Thank God. Right? I mean, I have a good mask, but I don't want to be taking hits in the head like that. Undefended, what he thought was an undefended strike to my head. And unfortunately, he hit my sword, which happened to be resting on his mask. I will reiterate, for over 2/3 of a second, right? Half a second. Suddenly, boom, one frame, instantly into his shoulder. Yeah, because you slammed your sword straight down on me. And what's the result of this? He gets hurt. Oh. I'm trying to be like, what happened? I was like, wait, I had no idea. And I tried to talk to Eric after, I was trying to ask him. I was like, what strike did I get called for exactly? Because I did one thrust and then held him in the bind. That's all I did. I wouldn't even say that, my sword being on his mask was even a strike. It was incidental contact. It was me trying to prevent him from swinging around. So what happens after this is I get black carded, completely kicked out of the tournament, which, I have thoughts on this. And then, so this guy, Hyduck, fights against Adam, an instructor from EGFG, or Edmonton German Fencing Guild, right? And Adam, I was distracted trying to review what had just happened in this exchange, trying to figure out what had happened, and I tried to ask Eric, and he basically was just like, that was unacceptable, like very belligerent about this, wasn't communicating at all. And ultimately, because of that, he banned the wrong person and allowed the person who was behaving in an incredibly dangerous manner to further endanger himself and others in this tournament, because he fought Adam in the next match, and then Adam cut him, I was told, with a Tzver, or it was just a very relatively straightforward cut. It knocked Hyduck flat on the ground. I did see him on his back on the ground, and then after that, I think, I'm not sure of the details of what happened, but I believe he left. And I have some thoughts on this. So here's another exchange, and this is Dylan, another guy from Boarstooth in Brandon, and this is also against Hyduck. This is not my recording. This was graciously sent to me, but this is another example of the same kind of thing. So yeah, boom. Okay, look what happens here. I'm not used to VLC key controls. Okay, we'll have to do it rough. Okay. He comes flying in. Feet off the ground. This should have been called. He's flying through the air, and he slams into Dylan's crossguard. Runs into it. And you see, look at the body language. Like Dylan didn't even really attack. He mostly just was confused, I think. Right? And he's like, oh, yeah, I bet that hurt. I bet that hurt a lot. On the drive home, I had several hours to reflect on what had happened and my thoughts on the matter, and what I thought of the tournament as a whole. And unfortunately, I have to give the verdict of a black card for the tournament. I can't recommend anyone participate in the future because you are at risk. It's unsafe. And I would have to also give Pile of Bones Hema a black card because it was Eric's student who made the event unsafe, and it was Eric in charge of judging and regulating what was going on, and he completely failed to do so. And he allowed this whole thing to spiral out of control. The problem is that this is his student who he approved to fight in his tournament. So it reflects on him and his club. And he either A, trained him to do this, which I don't think is the case, but we're just going to explore the possibilities that I could think of, or B, he knew that Hyduck was going to behave dangerously and still put everyone at risk through negligence, or C, didn't realize how dangerous Hyduck was and put everyone at risk due to incompetence. And then when it happened, instead of, I tried to figure out why I was black carded. It literally took multiple days and review of the footage to know what he was even talking about. He didn't look into it well enough. He was not competent to perceive what had happened accurately. And I was the one who was most at risk to Hajduk's conduct. Hajduk was the one who did the spiteful, like the revenge strike on me, trying to hit me with his full force while I was like essentially over around my sword and into my head. Thank God that my sword was between us. It's unfortunate that it injured him. However, karma's a bitch. Literally, you felt the strike of your own blow directed into your shoulder. And I have to give Hajduk a black card. I would not allow him to participate in any tournament, and I would discourage others from allowing him to do so because he's a danger both to himself and to his opponents. And the way he conducted himself on the field was unacceptable, but also the way he conducted himself off the field. Afterwards, I ran all the way across the field, and I said to him, "Hey man, are you okay? I had no idea that I hit you that hard. I'm really sorry." And his response was, "You fucking did." Absolutely belligerent. Completely unsportsmanlike. And I get it. You're hurt. But you don't lash out like that when somebody is apologizing to you, and also it happens to be your fault. And you knew that I stabbed you in the face. You turned your back on me in the field, which should have been a red card, which is on Eric, and on Hajduk for doing that. You tried to cut around and do a malicious strike to hurt me, and it happened to hurt you. And you lash out like that on me, and you knew. You had to have known that it was you who cut like that. I did not cut like that. Right? And you're gonna do that to me? Completely unacceptable. So unfortunately, that is my thoughts on the matter. Everybody else was great. I love seeing the guys from Edmonton. I was super excited to get a chance to fence them. I consider them to be, on the same, we're brothers in arms. The other people from Manitoba, you were awesome. Super great to see you. Huge shout out to everyone of my guys who showed up in fenced and who took the video footage, and shout outs to everybody else who actually contributed towards making it a great event and enjoyable despite what happened. Everything outside of that, every other member that I fenced against and that participated with any of my guys was great. So unfortunately, that's what I have to conclude.